Welcome aboard, brave sailors and history enthusiasts. Today, we embark on an exciting journey through the stormy waters of pirate history. From the ancient seas of the Mediterranean to the hidden coves of the Caribbean, from legendary pirate captains to the terrors of the seven seas, we will uncover it all. Hoist the sails and prepare yourselves to dive into a world full of adventure, betrayal, and hidden treasures. So, take a deep breath, hold on to your hats, and let's explore the fascinating and often misunderstood history of piracy. Is everyone ready? Then anchors away. The history of piracy begins in Antiquity, a time when maritime navigation and trade were the cornerstones of civilizations. Piracy was not just a form of robbery, but also a political and economic instrument. Early pirates of the Mediterranean, such as the Phoceans and Etruscans, used their maritime skills not only for enrichment but also for displaying their power. In ancient Greece, piracy was initially considered honorable, reflecting its influence in society. However, this perception changed over time. The pirates of this era were experienced sailors who used their knowledge of the seas for raids. Their ships were fast and agile, specially equipped for attacks on merchant vessels. The activities of the Phocaeans in the Western Mediterranean are an example of the complex nature of piracy. Driven out by Persian expansion, they settled in Corsica and disrupted the trade of the Etruscans and Carthaginians from there. Their raids led to military conflicts and influenced the political landscape of the region. This early phase of piracy demonstrates that it was much more than simple sea robbery. It was an integral part of the historical development of maritime navigation and had significant impacts on the political and economic structures of the ancient world. This era laid the groundwork for understanding piracy as a complex and multifaceted phenomenon that continues to fascinate and inspire us today. Section 2. Piracy in the Roman Empire. In the era of the Roman Empire, piracy took on a new dimension. Roman expansion across the Mediterranean led to increased conflicts with pirates who were viewed as a serious threat to Rome's trade and security. The pirates, mostly from the Eastern Mediterranean, exploited the strategic vulnerabilities of Roman maritime trade. A significant event was the capture of Julius Caesar by pirates, an incident that alarmed the Roman elite. Caesar, then an aspiring politician, persuaded his captors to demand a higher ransom and promised to punish them upon his release, which he later did. The threat of piracy led to Roman military actions. Particularly noteworthy is the pirate war led by Pompey, who was granted extensive powers to combat piracy. He managed to significantly reduce pirate activities in a short time, which had a profound impact on his political career. This period illustrates how piracy not only influenced navigation, but also the political and military history. It was a key factor in the development of Roman maritime power and demonstrated how Antiquity had to deal with maritime threats. Responses to piracy also shaped Roman politics and military strategy, with long-term effects on the history of navigation and the Mediterranean region. Section 3. Piracy in the Middle Ages. The Middle Ages marked a significant phase in the history of piracy, characterized by the activities of the Vikings and other pirate groups. The Vikings, notorious for their violent raids and plundering, dominated the seas of northern Europe from the 8th to the 11th century. They used their superior ships to threaten coastal regions and riverways far beyond their homeland of Scandinavia. In addition to the Vikings, other groups such as the Victual Brothers emerged, challenging the Hanseatic cities in the late Middle Ages. These groups were not merely common robbers, but also played a political role, often acting on behalf of or with the tolerance of rulers. For example, the Victual Brothers initially operated as Stockholm's suppliers during a siege and later became independent actors in the Baltic Sea. This era of piracy clearly demonstrates how piracy was closely linked to the political and economic circumstances of the time. The pirates of the Middle Ages were not only after material booty, but also influenced the political landscape of their time. Their activities led to the development of defense strategies and alliances between cities and rulers to protect themselves from the threat. Medieval piracy was thus a complex phenomenon that went beyond the concept of simple robbery. It was an integral part of medieval history and reflected the dynamics and complexity of the society of that time. Section 4. The Golden Age of Piracy. The Golden Age of Piracy, spanning from the 16th to the 18th centuries, is one of the most fascinating periods in the history of piracy. During this time, marked by the discovery of the Americas and the expansion of European trade, piracy flourished. Pirates threatened the rich trade routes between Europe and the New World, especially in the Caribbean and the sea routes to India. During this time, famous pirates like Edward Teach, better known as Blackbeard, and Captain William Kidd emerged. Their deeds and legends shaped the image of pirates in popular culture. This era was also characterized by the diversity of piracy, from common pirates to state-sanctioned privateers and the infamous buccaneers. The Golden Age of piracy was made possible by a combination of economic, political, and social factors. The increasing importance of maritime trade and competition among European powers created ideal conditions for piracy. Furthermore, social inequalities and the desire for freedom and adventure led many people to choose a life of piracy. This era ultimately ended due to increased military efforts by the maritime powers and changes in maritime warfare and legislation. The maritime powers that had previously ignored or even exploited the threat of piracy began systematically addressing it. This led to a significant reduction in pirate activities on the world seas. Section 5. The Decline of Piracy. The end of the Golden Age of piracy in the 18th century marks the beginning of the decline of piracy. This decline was the result of several factors, including increased military efforts by the maritime powers and an evolution in maritime warfare and legislation. The maritime powers, which had previously often ignored or even exploited the threat of pirates, began to systematically combat them. This led to a significant reduction in pirate activities on the world's seas. Key measures included the introduction of convoy systems, improved sea patrols, and the signing of international agreements to combat piracy. Additionally, more effective legal frameworks were created to prosecute and punish piracy. These changes were partly a response to the rise in international trade and the need to make trade routes safer. At the same time, social and economic changes made the life of a pirate less appealing. The increasing professionalization of seafaring and the Navy, as well as improved economic conditions on land, offered former pirates alternative life paths. The decline of piracy was thus a gradual process, the result of changing political, social, and economic circumstances. This development marked the end of an era in which pirates ruled the seas and captured the imagination of people. However, even after their decline, piracy remains a significant part of maritime history and culture. Section 6. The Legacy of Pirates. The legacy of pirates extends far beyond their physical decline. These historical figures have left an indelible influence on culture, literature, and even our modern understanding of rebellion and freedom. Pirates, in many ways, represent the archetype of the outsider who rebels against established structures. They embody a mix of adventure, independence, and a hint of lawlessness deeply rooted in the human psyche. In popular culture, pirates have become legendary figures whose stories are often romanticized and preserved in books, films, and artworks. Their portrayal as fearless and often charismatic outlaws has shaped the public image of pirates. This has also contributed to a certain degree of idealization and myth-making, often overshadowing the harsh realities of pirate life. Furthermore, the legacy of pirates has also influenced jurisprudence and international agreements, especially regarding laws of the sea. Their influence extends to the present day, where piracy, albeit in different forms, continues to be a globally significant issue. In summary, the legacy of pirates is a complex blend of historical reality, cultural representation, and romanticized idealism. It reflects humanity's fascination with the unknown, and with figures who defy conventions. The history of piracy is, therefore, more than just a chapter in maritime history. It is a window into human nature and its endless quest for freedom and adventure. We have now embarked on an exciting journey through the history of piracy, from its ancient origins to the Golden Age and its eventual decline. This journey has not only taken us to distant seas and times, but has also shown us how deeply piracy is rooted in human culture and history. Their stories of freedom, adventure, and rebellion against the established order remain an integral part of our cultural heritage. I hope this video has provided you with insights into the multifaceted world of pirates. If you enjoyed it, please don't forget to comment, like, and subscribe to stay updated on more exciting stories. Thank you for watching, and until next time on our channel.